Indonesia ranks as one of the most diverse nations on earth, with an unrivaled bounty of natural gifts, hundreds of languages and cultures, thousands of incredible islands to experience, and millions of welcoming smiles. Where to start? Well, get set, because TLC has curated a list of must-do attractions in 5 of the best ever destinations, just for you.
Indonesia is simply one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Every trip I do here is an eye-opener.
The people, the food, the culture.
Our stories, our traditions.
There isn't any place quite like our wonderful Indonesia.
It's time to pack your bags for Indonesia's best ever destinations. This best ever destination is a place of mystery, a land that time forgot. A home to gentle sea giants, living dinosaurs, and the original island people who shared with them. Labuan Bajo, the Sea Gypsies harbor and home to the Manggarai, is the gateway to the wonders of East Nusa Tenggara. Flight time from Jakarta to the Komodo International Airport is 2 hours and 20 minutes. From the airport, it is an easy 10-minute drive to reach the harbor, which is the leaping off point to the islands and Komodo National Park. Exploring the islands of Labuan Bajo is a must, and the picturesque harbor offers all manner of sea transport, from modified outriggers to modern speedboats, luxury yachts, and finissees. The Indonesian seafaring icon with over 120 years of history.
The legend of the Finisi ships relates to the Buginese epic Surat Galigo and the tale of a prince who fell in love with his sister.
To avoid scandal, he sailed off on a magic ship. But a wild storm tore the ship apart and the wreckage washed up on the shore.
The villagers reconstructed the vessel, learning the skills of building and sailing ships. Legend says the descendants became the master Finisi shipbuilders.
Finisi are beautiful and unmistakably Indonesian. My kind of sailing.
I went for a rustic experience close to what the original seafarers had. Let's face it, Komodo National Park is so special that you don't really need all these luxuries just for a couple of days sailing. I mean, is a hot shower really necessary?
Duh! Yes, Hamish, absolutely. And a jacuzzi and sunbeds. My own experience was a dream come true. I can still remember the exact moment when we dropped anchor. I jumped off the prow into the crystal clear waters. You're immersed in nature, waking up with sunrise, spending days surrounded by clear blue skies, and the sunsets unforgettable.
You guys are making me jealous. Rustic or 5-star, I am definitely going. In fact, I'm coming right now.
Wait, hold on, Mike. Finisi sailing is just one attraction to look out for. As part of the Coral Triangle, Komodo National Park is home to wonderful marine biodiversity, colorful coral, hundreds of fish species, and the opportunity to have a first-hand encounter with a gentle, intelligent, playful giant.
I was about 10 years old when I saw my first manta ray. My dad and I were fishing and we had a net out, and a manta ray swam right into it and it nearly flipped the boat. It was so powerful. The boat was rocking and rolling and it was crazy. And my dad just kept screaming, "Cut the rope, cut the rope." It nearly flipped the boat over. I remember I was just shaking. It was an awe-inspiring and humbling experience. Every contact with a manta ray is just so mysterious and beautiful. It's a majestic moment.
When I swam with these majestic creatures for the very first time at Manta Point, I actually did feel like Aquaman.
Meeting mantas? It's a game of chance. You're waiting for a manta and hoping it's your lucky day. And if it is, wow!
The guides have a sixth sense for spotting mantas. They know where they are before you even get wet.
So true, Mike. And then you see them. They're like huge black kites sailing beneath the water.
So when you scuba dive, they'll glide above you, but they'll keep their distance because of the bubbles.
That's why I love snorkeling, because instead of blowing bubbles, you can get close enough to blow them a kiss.
Manta rays have the biggest brain-to-body ratio out of all fish in the sea. These creatures are so smart, so curious, and they'll approach you. But in a blink of an eye, they're gone.
The way they check you out, it's mind-blowing. I had an epiphany. We aren't the only smart ones here. We aren't so special.
Manta Point is a great example of positive impact tourism and conservation. Indonesia is home to the world's largest manta ray sanctuary.
There's no shortage of beautiful islands to explore from Labuan Bajo.
To truly appreciate how spectacular this place is, do a trek. After 45 minutes of hiking, my reward was a stunning panoramic vista.
But of course, there's one spot you absolutely must visit. Home to a living dinosaur.
A Komodo dragon can be over 3.1 meters long and weigh more than 160 kilograms. So that's like stuffing 3 of me inside one of them.
All right, well, that's an analogy I won't easily forget.
Don't worry, guys. When you visit Komodo Island, you'll be guided by the rangers. These guys really know these animals.
The first one I saw when I visited was just lazing around the ranger station, so I felt safe. But later, on our guided trek, a huge Komodo appeared. I thought, am I gonna be his lunch? I didn't know whether to take a selfie or run away. But then I said to myself, this is his island, his home. I'm just a visitor. He's just chilling, and I realized how beautiful they were.
I actually thought that they were semi-domesticated. They are anything but. These guys are apex predators with powerful jaws and saliva teeming with deadly bacteria. They stay still, sunbaking and conserving energy, but when they move, these guys are super fast. They hunt in a pack. All it takes is one bite. Then they just sit back and relax and let the poison do the work. When the prey is dead, the pack just devours it, the bones and all.
Hey, Prue, I don't think imagining how many times you can fit inside a Komodo dragon is such a good idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to block that image, bones and all.
It is thanks to the original inhabitants of Komodo Island, the Ato Modo, that we can experience Komodo dragons today. They believe that Komodo dragons are the reincarnation of the ancestors. Ancient taboos strictly forbid harming them, which help explain why they have survived here while becoming extinct elsewhere.
Komodo National Park is the only place on Earth where you can see them in the wild.
I'm immensely proud of the critical role Komodo National Park plays in conserving rare creatures above and below the water. It is truly deserving of UNESCO status.
The fact that this land that time forgot is accessible to modern-day adventurers makes it an undeniable best-ever destination. Moving westward, we head to an island steeped in rich cultural history, where the skills of the warrior are kept honed and legends of the past continue to resonate. Home to the indigenous Sasak people who are known as proud and accomplished warriors. This alluring and rugged landscape is accented by Kuta Mandalika's white sand beaches and is just bursting with cultural intrigue. A flight from Jakarta to Lombok's International Airport is just 2 hours. The first must-do attraction is brimming with history and quirky ceremonial customs.
Close by the up-and-coming Mandalika Resort area, with its glitzy hotels and international motorcycle racing circuit, lies a village that seems frozen in time.
Sade Village is an ancestral home of the Sasak people.
The word Sade means consciousness. and this sense of connection is palpable.
What strikes you is not just the sense of history, but the incredible warmth of the community. You are a guest in their home. This is something truly special, and I'd say a must for you to experience.
750 locals live in traditional Bale tani houses made of clay, wood, bamboo thatch, and, wait for it, cow and buffalo dung, which is used to line the floors of their houses. You'd think that it might stink, but it doesn't smell at all.
The dung mix helps cool the homes while warding off insects and bad spirits. The secret is in their special blend that incorporates clay, hibiscus, chaff ash, and tree sap.
Up next, can you imagine what skills a young Sade woman might require for marriage? Stay tuned to find out. To truly appreciate a destination, you must make the effort to learn about its customs and traditions.
To marry, a Sasak woman must first master the art of weaving. Failure to do so would mean ending up an old maid or having to pay a fine in order to get married.
At first, the feminist in me reacted, but weaving pays the bills, so it is an essential skill to help care for the family whilst ensuring that future generations do not lose this art. It's actually genius. The patterns, colors, and threads symbolize the cycle of birth, marriage, and death.
I tried weaving. It's so complicated. Some say kain tenun is expensive, but when you consider the skill, patience, and knowledge involved, it is well worth every penny.
Each purchase supports the local artisans and the continuation of this traditional craft. So, not only do you get a stunning keepsake, but you are practicing responsible tourism.
Another must-see ceremonial custom is the tari petuk. This dance is traditionally performed at a coming-of-age ceremony for recently circumcised Sasak boys.
A solo male performs the tari petuk to entertain much younger boys, all to the beat of the petuk and gendang belek drums.
The dance is lighthearted, cheeky, and a welcome distraction for the boys who have, you know.
I love the mustache painted on the dancer's face to symbolize the passage into manhood.
Maybe I should try that trick for my lack of, moves.
Maybe, Mike, but sometimes having the right moves is a matter of survival. Sasak are known as skilled and fierce fighters who have earned their reputation as warriors over the centuries. The best warriors were called papadu, a name still in use today.
I learned the hard way at Sade village when I tried my hand at preser, or stick fighting. My blood was already pumping when my turn came. I got swept up in the heat of battle, but you're up against experts, and the papadu can just take over any time they want.
In olden times, the Parisian was held at the end of the dry season. A sacrifice of blood spilled on the arid soil was believed to bring the first rain from heaven.
Parisian requires speed and power and endurance, but it's not just about the physical skill, it's also a great leveler. All are equal during this fight, no matter what their social standing is. When I had my turn, there was no sense that I was some outsider. I felt accepted. I was seen as one of them, an equal. It was really humbling.
If physical combat is not your idea of an ideal holiday, how about conquering the ocean swell?
My dad used to always go to Lombok to surf. Now, I myself am always looking to find ways that are not so crowded, and Grupok Beach offers that and more. The waves of Mandalika are some of the best in West Nusa Tenggara.
Yeah! I want to learn how to surf in Lombok.
I tried for 6 hours and stood up maybe for 5 seconds. It's such a thrill when you finally stand up, even if you fall flat in the water right after.
Ouch! Up next, what do waves and worms have in common? Now get set for a more relaxed vibe and some phenomenal scenery.
The beaches of Mandalika and Tanjung Aan are magical, with so many wonderful places to explore, amazing rocks and incredible views.
I love the calm, super chill bays and hidden coves you can explore by boat.
Colorful warungs dot the beach with shady spots to munch on mini pineapples. Take a dip in the amazing turquoise sea, then quench your thirst with fresh coconut water before heading out for a hike.
I love the stunning 360-degree views you see from Bukit Merese. It's also a wonderful spot to experience the sunset, and you might be joined by a friendly monkey.
Oh, I didn't see any monkeys.
Pantai Merica, or Pepper Beach, in the smaller bay, has really coarse textured sand that's like small peppercorns. In the big bay, the sand is really fine, like powder.
Another reason to visit Mandalika is the annual Bau Nyale festival, dedicated to the fabled Princess Mandalika. The princess was famed for her beauty and kindness. Mary Suter wished to marry her, but she could not choose one for fear of hurting the rest.
Her father decided on an archery competition to decide her husband, but it descended into bloodshed.
Distraught at the chaos, the princess flung herself from a cliff and into the ocean to end the carnage. When the people searched for her, all they could find were sea worms, known as nyale.
The folktale gave rise to the Bau Nyale, or Sea Worm Catch Festival, celebrated in February each year. Thousands of visitors descend on the beach to catch sea worms that are said to bring fertility to those who eat them. The locals believe that the worms are sacred as they embody the reincarnation of Princess Mandalika.
Now, let's turn our sights to a region created from one of the most powerful volcanic events in our planet's very long history. 75,000 years ago, a supervolcano on the island of Sumatra erupted, wiping out 50% of all living species on Earth. In this incredible place, a unique society was born, rich in stories and bound to the balance of life. They call Dalihan Natolu, which guides their spirituality, relationships, and their respect for nature. It is a 2.5-hour flight from Jakarta to Lake Toba's Silangit Airport, and Samosir Island is a 3-hour scenic drive from the airport.
I'm amazed that so much beauty was born out of the most explosive volcanic event in human history. It is as though the earth is providing a lesson through the crucible of struggle. Something wonderful results. But truthfully, you must experience Lake Toba for yourself.
According to Batak legend, a young farmer was fishing when he caught a fish with golden scales. The fish pleaded, "Please don't eat me."
Shocked, the farmer dropped the fish and it turned into a young princess. In catching her, the farmer had broken her curse. They were married and they had a son. But the princess said that they must never speak of the truth for the fear of the curse returning.
But their son grew to be a lazy boy, always in trouble. One day, the farmer admonished his son, calling him
the son of a fish.
With those words, the farmer broke his vow.
The boy and his mother vanished, and the waters rose up, flooding the area and forming the lake, representing the princess, and the island Samosir, their son.
Lake Toba is mystical. The waters are dark and mysterious. I once swam on my own. I'm glad I did it, but I won't be doing that again.
Well, luckily for you, there's so much to experience above the surface. Our first stop on Samosir Island beautifully reflects Batak culture through an architectural tradition that connects family, spirituality, and practicality.
The shape and style of architecture is so immediately distinctive.
Traditional Batak homes are described anatomically. The foundation piers are the feet, and the internal space is the body, and the roof is the head. The roof is higher at the front of the home than it is at the back. The design is said to bring good fortune to those who live in that house throughout the generations.
Batak structures are termed jabo or rumah bolon, for a place to dwell.
Batak people say a Jabu Bolon home is like a mother hen sitting over and protecting her occupants like newly hatched chicks.
I was lucky to be invited into a family home. To enter, I had to bow my head because the doorway was so low. This is deliberate and is meant as a sign of respect to the homeowners. There is a warmth to the cozy timber interior that feels quite magical.
The Batak adorn their homes with intricate motifs or gorga to ward off powerful magic. Carved figureheads such as Gorga Singa Singa guard the corners and entrance to Batak homes from spiritual harm.
The mystical past of the Batak experience in Samosir includes a must-see event with a Pinocchio-esque twist that was inspired by one of the many Batak fables.
The story goes like this. King Rahat was heartsick with grief at the passing of his son, Manggale. He grew worse by the day, and no one knew how to cure him.
But the king's healer was inspired. He told the villagers to carve a wooden likeness of Manggale and dress it in the boy's clothing. He then called the boy spirit.
The spirit entered the wooden puppet and it began to dance. And after the puppet danced for 7 straight nights, King Rahat's broken heart was healed.
This legend is brought to life in a dance and puppet show, fondly known as Sigale-Gale, after Prince Manggale.
In the past, the Sigale-Gale dance was performed to send the spirit of the deceased to the afterlife. Those who passed away childless were considered cursed. And the Sigale-Gale dance ritual was to help their lineage continue in the hereafter, thus breaking the curse.
Batak dancers accompany the puppet wearing traditional clothing, including the famous woman cloth of Lake Toba, the ulos.
Carved from the wood of a hariara or banyan tree, considered sacred to the Batak, the life-size puppets are operated by skilled puppeteers. I can tell you, these puppets have some clever moves.
Coming up is a very special spot to rest up for the night. You just have to be wary of flying seats. For a different kind of holiday, Lake Toba offers a wonderfully alternative sleepover experience that will put you in touch with nature.
I'm not really an adventurous type and the idea of pitching a tent just isn't my style. But the idea of glamping at Caldera Lake Toba and waking up to these gorgeous views laid out before you is something else altogether. You can sense the mood of the lake. At once cheerful, sunny, then suddenly dark, dramatic. It is moving and inspiring.
But to really get to know the lake, you simply must get out on it.
I decided to properly introduce myself to the lake by kayaking at the incredible Siti Murun waterfall. For a unique and fun spin on planting trees, I tried my hand at slingshotting tree seeds from a boat. Bullseye! With the Toba conservation movement, planting a seed means much more than growing a tree. It is a prayer for the future.
Danau Toba is so big, it's easy to think you are by the sea.
After my day on the water and some afternoon cycling, it was a joy to simply sit by the lake with a roaring campfire. The sheer beauty of the moment put a song in my heart.
Good company is what Lake Toba is all about. That, plus a warm and fashionable item that requires a great degree of dedication and skill to produce.
Ulos weaving is a dedicated tradition, and for many women, a lifelong practice that has been handed down from mother to daughter for generations.
Batak folklore states that there are three main elements to life: blood, breath, and warmth. The Batak originally lived in the highlands on Mount Pusok-Buhit, where temperatures can drop below 15 degrees and even lower on the peak. Providing warmth was an ever-present need. The Batak say that the sun shines during the day, a fire can be lit at night, but the ulos can provide comfort and warmth whenever required.
I tried my hand at weaving ulos, and it is much more difficult than it looks. The women work the loom like concert pianists. And having spent years practicing at the piano keys, I can appreciate their skill and dedication.
A single ulos can take a month to make, depending on the complexity of the pattern, and the colors are so vibrant. Radiant ulos in pinks and reds are worn on festive occasions.
In the Batak language, mangulosi is the art of giving an ulos as a symbol of love. But there are customary rules. Parents can mangulosi their children, but not the other way around. Different ulos are given for special occasions, and no guest is ever expected to leave Lake Toba without the gift of an ulos.
You can't help but sense the ancient power of Lake Toba and the mystique of Batak culture. Next, a place of spirituality and mystery. One of the great wonders of the world that was lost in time for over 4 centuries. The heartland of Javanese culture makes it to our list of Indonesia's best ever destinations, with its long and dynastic history and stunning, iconic monuments. Borobudur is just an hour's drive from Yogyakarta, which can be reached via an easy 1-hour flight from Jakarta.
Borobudur, the world's largest Buddhist temple, is an ancient wonder that everyone should experience. Every time I visit Borobudur, I feel really small. I feel Borobudur is teaching us about life, stories relevant in the past, in the present, and will be relevant in the future.
Borobudur defined my Jogja experience. Looking at this amazing place, I wondered what went through the minds of the people who built it. How did they even conceive it? This complex was built over a small hill, assembled using almost 2 million blocks of volcanic rock to create the 9 levels. Can you imagine the manpower that was needed to create this masterpiece?
Borobudur rejuvenates the soul, and for me personally, it holds a special place in my heart. This was a dating spot for my husband and I. It's the perfect place to go with your special someone.
So romantic! My own trip was inspiring. I climbed the stairs to the top level, where the sunlight touches the statues and stupas in a way that seems to bring them to life. I felt peace, simplicity, and greatness.
The temple features an astounding 504 statues of Buddha that are inside the stupas and alcoves as you ascend the levels of the temple. And there's a special story about these Borobudur Buddhas.
Legend says that if you touch one of the Buddhas, you will have good luck. But unfortunately, I'm short and my hands couldn't reach the statue. But I'm not as unlucky as some. A boy once got his head stuck inside one of the stupas.
Good thing you're no longer allowed to try those games. It's difficult to imagine that this massive monument lay hidden under volcanic ash and jungle growth for hundreds of years. It was only in the early 1800s that an expedition rediscovered Borobudur. But it took almost a century for this man-made wonder to be restored to its original glory. This place is revered by everyone. I have been to Borobudur 3 times, and I love it.
There are 70 uniquely shaped stupas, not found anywhere else in the world. Borobudur houses the world's largest ensemble of Buddhist bas-reliefs that, if laid out in a single line, will stretch over 6 kilometers. The reliefs depict the Buddha's journey from life on earth on the lower levels to enlightenment on the upper levels.
The stories tell of karma, the cause and effect of good deeds, and the cycle of birth, life and death.
There's also a very different perspective of Borobudur that will invigorate your senses and have you in a downward dog in no time. There are many ways to experience the magnificence of Borobudur, and getting into the surrounding hills offers a very different perspective of this world wonder.
Less than 15 minutes from Borobudur Temple is Puntuk Setumbu. The short hike to the top offers a spectacular view back over the temple. Leave super early so you can catch the awesome sunrise. There are viewing platforms that offer great photo opportunities and maybe even a place to propose.
And there's another attraction at Puntuk Setumbu, something stranger than fiction, a giant chicken church. The original concept was for the church to appear like a dove, but visitors agreed it looked more like a chicken, so locals began calling it Gereja Ayam, or the chicken church.
On the crown of the bird is a platform where you can see 360 degrees in all directions.
Being close to Borobudur might awaken a need to get in touch with yourself by engaging in an ancient practice that has become a popular modern trend.
After watching the sunrise at Puntuk Setumbu, you can join a yoga class at Dagi Hill, surrounded by greenery and within sight of Borobudur.
I can just imagine taking in the fresh air and getting really focused in such a special space.
My own experience of yoga so close to Borobudur gave me a different energy. It is as though there is a more heightened awareness of self. Maybe the ancients are somehow sending us a message.
Perhaps they are telling us to try a different way of touring the region, one requiring 4 legs and 2 wheels.
Dokar are horse-drawn carriages that were originally the ride of choice for the kings of Mataram.
Trotting along in a carriage gives a real sense of connection to the past, and the earthy smell of a horse is far more pleasant than exhaust fumes.
You can explore the villages around Borobudur. Wanurejo is one of the most popular, known for arts and crafts, and as a place to take in some fresh air and appreciate quaint country living.
Wanurejo comes from 2 Sanskrit words, Vanua meaning village and Reja meaning prosperous, which is fitting as this village is rich in age-old cultural traditions.
One of the most interesting traditions is the Memedi Sawah Festival, which takes place at the start of the rice field planting season. In Japanese, Memedi is a kind of ghost, and Sawah means rice field. So this is the Japanese take on a scarecrow.
The Memedi are made of rice straw and dressed up to resemble people or demons. These ghosts are marched through the village with local residents cheering them on, and then finally placed in the rice fields to do what they do best: scare away.
The villagers don't consider the birds a true enemy. Instead, the scarecrows are actually meant to keep the birds away from potential hunters, thus preserving them.
A tradition that serves a higher purpose. What a wonderful way to promote conservation.
Wonorejo also produces Dewi Wanu pattern batiks inspired by the bas-reliefs and architecture of Borobudur. To watch a craft person create something beautiful by only using their eyes and hands fills me with such joy.
Sunrise hikes to spectacular views, exploring one of the wonders of the world, and immersing in the local culture, Borobudur has it all. Our next best ever destination is a far less known gem for guests to Indonesia, a place of secluded white sand beaches, swaying palm trees, and an underwater paradise. Welcome to the land of the Minahasa tribe, bound by mountains where two great oceans meet and beautiful coral islands abound. A place for close encounters with sea life and getting your battle cry ready. To get to North Minahasa, hop on a 3.5-hour flight from Jakarta to Samratulangi International Airport in North Sulawesi. The airport is just a 40-minute drive away from Manado City and a 20-minute speedboat ride from our first attraction, Bunaken, a world-renowned underwater oasis for tropical sea life and corals.
Bunaken is a feast for the eyes, with at least 25 dive spots to choose from.
You are spot on, Prue. Bunaken is amazing. I had an incredible experience there a few years ago. I was cruising along, taking in the grandeur of it all, and I bumped into this sea turtle, just like the one in Finding Nemo. He didn't call me dude, but he was super friendly. So we hung out underwater for a while and even shook hands before parting ways.
There is no doubt that Bunaken is turtle central. You can get up really close because these turtles are so relaxed. Some of them are literally taking a siesta on the reef. Many local villages are working in turtle conservation by helping locate and protect turtle nests, ensuring that baby turtles, or tukik, hatch safely and make it to the sea. Bunaken was a game changer for marine conservation in Indonesia.
Bunaken National Park is almost 900 square kilometers of underwater habitat, and the park is awash in biodiversity. What are you waiting for?
Diving here, you have a chance of spotting 7 of the 8 known species of giant clams, and some of them are huge.
You have to allow at least a day to explore the incredible corals around Bunaken and the nearby Manado Island. But if you do take the time, you are sure to be rewarded.
Bunaken's reputation as a must-see area for its multitudes of underwater wonders has made it very popular. But there was a time when that wasn't the case.
Local legend told of an evil spirit living underwater that would rise up during rough weather and pull young men into the depths. The local fishermen were so frightened they refused to dive over the reefs of Bunaken. Then, in 1975, a group of young divers dared each other to explore the waters of Bunaken. No evil water spirit was found. Instead, they discovered a diver's paradise, and as word spread of the incredible sea life they found, the old superstition faded away.
Bunaken is but one of the ocean grandeurs of this region of North Minahasa's coral wonderland.
Likupang is less than 90 minutes from Manado City or Sam Ratulangi Airport by road. From there, you can take a 30-minute boat trip to the southern tip of beautiful Bangka Island.
The incredible corals and sea life of the region are intimately connected to the land, especially the breeding areas and sanctuaries created by mangrove forests.
So if you want to protect our reefs, you have to protect our mangroves.
Exploring beneath the mangrove forest canopy by kayak is a surreal experience. The light filters through the trees and the reflections on the water are almost ethereal. I couldn't help but be struck by the sculptured shapes of the aerial roots and the intricate waterways that weave between them.
Our next attraction is the jewel in the crown of North Sulawesi's dive spots and illustrates just why these reefs are so deserving of protection.
Sahawung, on the southern tip of Bangka Island, is smaller than many soccer stadiums, but is considered one of the top dive spots in the region, famous for underwater beauty.
Sahawung is like a classic storybook desert island with white sandy beaches lined with trees for shade.
The reefs at Sahawung are known for pinnacles, colorful soft corals, and abundant fish life, including wrasse and enormous schools of snapper, moray eels, lionfish, and minute pygmy seahorses.
The visibility is amazing, which is fantastic because there's so much to see. The soft corals are spectacular. Sahawung is one of those rare places where you don't have to work to see the magic. It's right there in front of you, perfectly choreographed as nature intended.
Our next must-see attraction also involves choreography, with feathers for your cap and a necklace of skulls. Over on the mainland, the once were warriors of Minahasa continue a thrilling dance ritual that in times past prepared the tribes for bloody battle.
The Kabasaran war dance is performed by the northern Minahasa tribes. The dancers are called Kawasala in the local tongue, a word describing their fierce mimicry of fighting cogs.
It is customary that only the descendants of Kawasalan may dance the Kabasaran. The dance is considered sacred. In the past, anyone who disrupted or disrespected the ritual of Kabasaran faced death.
It was impossible not to be moved by the fierce spirit of the Kawasala. It lit a fire in my belly. You can imagine what it was like for an enemy to witness his Kawasalan ready for battle. Their spears rattling, banging shields, and willingness to fight to the death written across their faces.
That would for sure have me running for the hills.
And I'd be right behind you. You wouldn't want to mess with these guys, man.
Luckily for you two, the Kabasaran today is performed in tribute to the ancestors who died on the battlefield. The red of the costume is the color of courage. Animal skull necklaces accentuate the bloodthirsty look, but in the past, the skulls of fallen enemies adorn these warriors. The elaborate plumage of the Kawasalan headdress makes them appear taller and even more fierce.
When they dressed me in their plumage and handed me a sword, once used to fight the invading Portuguese, all the self-consciousness just evaporated. I felt the intensity of the battle cry. I imagined the readiness of these warriors to protect their families and homes. It sent shivers down my spine.
What a thrilling end to any visit to North Sulawesi. The power of the warriors' dance underscores a region rich in tradition. The home of the Minahasa is the definitive best ever destination.
Our diverse nation is full of hidden gems. There's a wealth of natural beauty, wildlife, culture, heritage, and adventure to entice you to pack your bags and explore wonderful Indonesia.
Indonesia has more islands than any other nation on earth. And even if you could magically visit one every single day, it will still take you 48 years to see them all. With so much to experience, you'll be making more than one trip to wonderful Indonesia. So for now, from our hearts to yours, sampai jumpa lagi with love from Indonesia.